Hi, students. Good morning. I hope you're well. I wanted to read to you this book called Jazz Age Josephine about Josephine Baker, written by Jonah Winter, illustrated by Marjorie Priceman. Here we go. Jazz Age Josephine. People, listen to my story about a girl named Josephine. People, listen to this story about a poor girl named Josephine. She was the saddest little sweetheart this side of New Orleans. Well, she was born up in St. Louis, and she grew up with these St. Louis blues. Yes, she was born in old St. Louis, and she grew up singing nothing but the blues. She just had one old ragged dress and a pair of worn-out old shoes. You see, the shack where she lived, it didn't have no heat. Things were sometimes so bad there wasn't nothing to eat. So she slept on the floor, newspapers for a sheet, rats crawling all around and nibbling at her feet. Josephine, her grandma said, I got a fairy tale for you. Josephine, oh Josephine, this story's about a girl like you. Someday you're gonna be a princess. You know what Granny says is true. That's so hard to believe in when all the kids all act so cruel. To believe in fairy tales is so hard when folks are cruel. Ain't nothing left to do but just pretend to be a fool. So, Josephine made funny faces, stuck out her tongue, and crossed her eyes. Yes, Josephine made funny faces, stuck out her tongue, bugged out her eyes, strutted right into a dance tent, and then to everyone's surprise, she did the grizzly bear, and she did the turkey trot. She whipped right through the bunny hug, strutted through the camel walk. She did so many dance steps, it made the people holler. And when the dance was over, Josephine got paid $1. She got paid to dance. She kept dancing, and she never got tired. She kept dancing, that girl, she never got tired. Until one night when her whole world changed, the night St. Louis caught on fire. Well, there were white folks chasing black folks on the black folks' side of town, white folks screaming at all the black folks and setting fire to their town, and the black folks kept on running while their homes burned to the ground. It was a terrible riot. They burned down their homes, chased them out of town. So Josephine, she started running too. She started running on that night. Yes, she started running. Started running on that night. There had to be some better place where white folks treat you right. Where do you think she's going to go? She ran all around the country with an old-time traveling show. Yes, she ran all around the USA with an outdoor traveling show, doing all her crazy dance steps till it was time to pack up and go. But the blues ran right behind her, all the way to old New York. Them nasty blues ran right behind her till the world was old, cold, and dark. She didn't have no friends or money, slept on a bench in Central Park. It must have been cold. She auditioned for this big show. They told her, beat it, kid. So she went out into the alley, bowled her eyes out, flipped her lid. The director, he took pity, called her name out, had a heart. He put her in the chorus line. That's how she got her start. Josephine, oh Josephine, you know you're in the big time now. Josephine, oh Josephine, grown up and in the big time now, making people hoot and whistle every night you take your bow. Look at her. She looks like a soloist more than a chorus girl. Chorus girls all look the same. She looks like she's special. Well, she wore big baggy pants. She wore black makeup on her face. Each night she wore those baggy pants. She wore what people called blackface, where people would try to look like a stereotypical person, a black person. It was a really not very nice thing to do, but that is what they considered entertainment for white people then. As much as all those white folks loved her, it was an insult to her race. That was it for Josephine. She had made up her mind. She'd stop clowning for these folks and leave these blues behind. She said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So she jumped on a boat that was headed for France. She was going to show those French folks how Americans dance. It was the jazz age now, the year of 1925. Jumpin' jazz bands, sassy haircuts. Yes, the good times had arrived. Miss Liberty waved bye-bye as the boat sailed out to sea, and for the first time in her life, jazz-age Josephine felt free. Then, 1, 2, 3, hit it! Gay Paris, Josephine, here's an act they've never seen. Bo-bo-be-dope, bo-bo-be-dope, dope, dope. She's dancing and singing. Bo-bo-dope-de-dope. Paris, France, instant fame. Everybody knows her name. Bo-do-de-dope, bo-do-de-dope-dope. Can she dance? That's a fact. Belly to belly and back to back. It's the shake, the shimmy, and the mess around. No one sleeps when she's in town. Can she sing? You'd sing too if everything you'd ever dreamed of suddenly just happened, like a beautiful song. How wonderful to be adored like a princess, like a queen, and to glitter like a diamond, just the thrill of being seen and known and loved by everyone you pass. How wonderful to be a star, to live in a palace, to keep a goat and a tiger and a monkey as pets, to walk a cheetah named Chiquita through the boulevards of Paris, and yet, alas, look at her pet cheetah. My goodness. To long for the place where you were born, where you would never live again, imagining how it might have been not to be scorned for the color of your skin, not to be forced to run away, and yet, drum beats, bright lights, Josephine is the star tonight. She was kind of sad that she had to go to a whole other country to be able to do what she loved to do. Dressed to the hilt, she is singing a lilt about pretty little baby that'll Alabama llama wham ya. Bye-bye, blackbird. She ain't singing the blues. She's got nothing to lose. Show after show, she is making a go of it, dancing the Charleston, begging your pardon, ma'am. Nanners and feathers and glittering diamonds, and here comes the end of this jazz fairy tale about Miss Josephine. Da-do-de-do. That was one of her famous faces. I'm going to read you a little note about Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker was born Frida Josephine McDonald on June 3rd, 1906 in St. Louis, Missouri. As a girl, her natural entertaining abilities did indeed provide a ticket out of the poverty, racism, and general misery of her childhood. And Josephine was, in fact, still a girl when she got her first big break into the world of New York show business. She was 15 years old, to be exact, and she lied about her age to get into the show Shuffle Along. So talented was she in her clowning role in this show, as it turned out, that Baker quickly became the highest paid Broadway showgirl of her era. Her popularity in New York, though, was nothing compared to the immediate rise to fame she experienced in Paris upon her arrival in 1925 at the tender age of 19 years old. Baker's French audiences embraced her with an enthusiasm she would never experience in her homeland, where she had been offered only humiliating roles. For Parisians, though, she became an exotic, beloved symbol of the American jazz age in full swing during the 1920s. As her performing days were tapering off, Josephine adopted 12 children from all around the world and called them the Rainbow Tribe. Commitment to racial integration did not stop here. In 1963, she spoke at the same civil rights convention in Washington, D.C., where the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. made his famous speech, "I Have a Dream." Josephine Baker died on April 12, 1975. During her funeral procession through Paris, more than 20,000 mourners lined the streets. That is the story of jazz age Josephine. Thanks for listening. See you next time.